Canary. Canary. That's not the right one. There we go. That Canary. Chris Summers has finally released the highly anticipated Canary, the second unit in the Blue Jacket saga, and she is coming out swinging on the global side of the game. Unfortunately, your boy didn't get her. You know, it is what it is. But your man Routes came through and he's allowing us to use his for this showcase. So huge shout out to him, because without him, this video wouldn't have been possible. Canary really has a lot more going for her than just what you see on the surface. For one, she has a passive that's able to buff up her damage against stats elements, and then when own HP is above 80%, you increase your own equipment CT speed by 20%. You instantly see this and you may be like, oh, she's a stats effect character. Technically, but at the same time, that's not all she does. We're not having like an evil Polis situation on our hands. Everything in the kit is to synergize with status effects, or to also buff up your physical damage by reducing enemies' physical res by a massive amount. And mind you, I said status effects and not just effect. And that is because Canaria is able to switch her element on the fly with her art. This is the order that she goes in, and depending on which element you are currently in, your true art changes to match the element. You start out in water, of course, which means your true art is able to inflict disease, which means she can switch to the exact stats effect you need to be able to fight whatever boss you're currently fighting. Not only just switch the exact stats element you need, also switch her elemental damage to get that type advantage buff on your damage. Oh, and one thing that's broken, she has that skill, you know, the one that Summer Iris and all them have. Yeah. That thing's busted. Her slots are going to be a 5-star physical, 5-star defense, and a 4-star physical. You're going to want to go with a true weapon that gives her a massive 100% attack buff passively and a skill CT buff. The true weapon, by the way, is pretty good not only on her, but a lot of other human characters if you want to try it out. With a 5-star defense, you guys already know. Counter whatever you're fighting. And for the 4-star physical, I personally would go with something that's probably lowering skill CT if possible, and not really grief. The reason why is because we don't want to lose that equipment CT buff that is in our passive, because we have to be above 80% HP. For the crest slots, you can kind of take her in 2 different ways. No matter what though, make sure you have art gauge up on her. For the second crest, I recommend either going equipment CT to really play into that equipment CT down stuff that she has to offer, not to mention with the defense slot, a lot of synergy there. Or go with attack up, because hey, more deeps, right? And then here's a bonus one. I don't usually do this, but elemental effect. As long as you're fighting a fire, water, or earth character, you're always going to have type advantage against them. In order to get the most with Canary, pairing her with an archgen like Hoka already gets you off on the right foot. In this day and age, we all need DR, so a Shiro is great here. And the last unit can be kind of this hybrid character, someone that arts, lowers physical res down, or just gives you a solid damage buff for the whole team. Which, yeah, that's, oh, it's you guys. Don't be afraid to be like, I don't know if I should put Canary in this team or whatever. As long as it's mainly a physical focused team, Canary is always providing you value, even if you're not making use of the status effects. If you're focusing on mainly physical res down, I recommend using your art first, then start spamming your super art, only refreshing your art once the art buff falls off. Unfortunately, your boy didn't do this because, I don't know, I just didn't even think about it, but I really should have. I should have made sure to use the art, because that gives you the art gauge, it gives you an extra little damage buff, and it just makes her a lot faster. By the way, don't worry about her archgen not stacking with like Hoka's archgen or something like that. She's a self-archgening unit, meaning that she stacks with everybody. If status is your main focus, the game plan is relatively similar. You're going to keep using your art so you get the status effect that you want. Use the true art to inflict the status. After the status is afflicted, use your super art when you can to deal a big boom. Make sure to constantly be able to refresh that status effect with that true art and just keep going to that super art. The bad part about this though is that I wouldn't recommend using your art to get that art gauge back online, because then you're going to be wasting even more arts to try to like switch between all the elements. And unless you have some crazy archgen on your team, I mean, hey, maybe you do, I wouldn't recommend doing this, since you're just going to be wasting more time. And that's it. It's extremely simple to play her. They even gave her a visual indicator as well to tell what element she is currently in, and her jacket will change color based on the element that she's in as well. Very easy to tell in multiplayer lobbies and just when you're using Canary in single player. By the way, I love that attention to detail. Yama P, please give us more stuff like this. Really, the weirdest part of Canary, or the most jarring part, I guess I would say, is what do you do on a stage that isn't the boss and you have the element you want already? This is very apparent when you just want to stay in water for disease. Like, I know you can just use the true art to clear off the ads and just kind of move on to the next stage, but the archgen on the art, man, it's looking too good. And you know your boy is an absolute for art gen. And you definitely can tell the difference whenever you're not using that art for the art gauge, by the way. Like, even on a team like this, we have Holy Knight Roy, we have Hoka, we're getting tons of art, but you can still be like, man, dude, she just feels a little slow right now. It's really good to pair Canary with a massive physical res down character. We technically have two on this team, being Shiro and Holy Knight Roy. This fight, though, is extremely simple. Honestly, if you guys have never done a Nova Crest Palace, I would highly recommend that you go against this fight. There's no earth units because they get popped in this. You should be able to clear this relatively easily, and it shouldn't really be that bad. It is going to take you a while, but out of all the Nova Crest Palaces, this one is absolutely the one you should farm, which means that it was just an easy win overall for the girl Canary. Now let's show her using her status effect, and we're going to be doing this against Palamecia. If you've never fought Crest Palamecia, she has a very big mechanic where she is able to heal pretty much all the damage you deal to her. So of course that means that we need to inflict her with disease, and as you see, Canary was instantly able to do that. And once that disease proc happens, well, it's GG for Palamecia, unfortunately. One thing I love about Canary compared to other status effect characters, she's never at a disadvantage when using her. Like, you can always change to another status effect if the boss can't be inflicted with burn or poison. Everybody can usually be inflicted with disease. I'm just gonna let you know, Sleepy Snake is calling me right now. Hello?
What's up, bro?
What's up? This team comp, we just switched it up just a little bit. We want to put an Orstilla Orbis to help us deal with that second threshold, since you do have to break Roy in order to actually keep dealing damage. But as you saw so far with Canary, this is kind of what you can expect with her. A very solid character. It's able to always be at an advantage as long as you're fighting the red, green, and blue elements, and she always has an answer to any kind of status effect that she can throw onto the boss. Of course, there are going to be times where a boss is just resistant to every kind of status effect, which whenever that happens, hey man, tough titty. A lot of people compare this character to Shadow, which is very reasonable since they are relatively similar. I don't want to make the whole last part of this video kind of this debate between Shadow and Canary, but I just want to talk about it because I know some people would be like, why didn't he say or mention Shadow like at all, or like compare them? And in reality, it's just, if you need statuses, then turn to Canary. If you want more support and art shin, then use Shadow. It's really that simple if you just want to break it down like that, or if you want the best of both worlds, use them together. They're going to function really well. Really, the main flaw with Canary is the fact that she can't fight against light and dark characters at an advantageous state, which is a little bit of a nitpick because she's already good against majority of the cast in the game. Another nitpick is the fact that I can't force myself to stay the same element. Like, it would be cool if I flicked up, but if I tapped on her icon or swiped to the left after I flicked up, I could stay the same element just so I could get the buffs from my art. And I guess the last thing is that if you're focusing more on her DPS, it kind of sucks that Canary doesn't have any innate like defense ignore or any innate crit chance. And don't any of you guys say she has defense ignore. I swear to God, if you guys are talking about this stupid 15% defense ignore passive, I'm going to scream. You guys tell me down below what you all think about Canary though. Do you like her? Do you not? She's kind of whatever. Let me know all that type of stuff down below in the comment section. But before you all leave, if you enjoyed this one, highly recommend checking out this video right here. It's talking about my new thoughts on Genshin. If you want to see that, click on that video. I'll meet you over there. But before you leave, don't forget to drink water.